number one, I'm going to kick this off with ideas come to me easily. Number one is always have something around that you can write down. When an idea comes to you, take note and write it down.
I love that. It's important.
And that's just ensuring everyone has their pen and paper now to do that.
Did you write it down? Did you write it down?
Did you? Because when you have an idea and then 4 hours later you go, oh, I thought of that idea. What was that idea? You've moved on. You've had 4 hours of minutes and seconds in there and lots of things happen. So you may not remember.
Other random thoughts came in too.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
I haven't sung on here for yonks.
Yonks.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
It's just been a couple of weeks, I think. But
Oops. Welcome to our deliciously motivated mindset conversation podcast with Moira.
Hello.
And Debz. Hello. And that would be me. Welcome. Oh, today's an interesting one.
I know. This is going to be really cool. I like this one. What we're going to discover today.
Yeah, probably nothing. I'll probably have blanks. So thank you for joining us today. If you've listened to us before, that's fabulous. If you haven't, that's even more fabulous because you're no longer going to be a virgin to our
That's right. And you're just going to be immersed in all this goodness. All this
love bubble.
Yeah.
So one of the things we do is we do a check-in with ourselves emotionally and physically, mentally, spiritually. We just do a check-in with who we are.
All levels of you.
Yep. Check-in. And we check in with a number being 0 to 10. And 10 is my accent. I know I have one, thank you. And 10 is when you are, I was going to say a basket case. Can you still say that? When you're an absolute basket case? Yeah. And a basket case is, to me, is you're just rocking in the corner. There's so much going on. You can't see clarity. You don't even know if you're wearing a blue top or a black top. You can't
discombobulated, frazzled.
Yes.
Chaotic.
Yeah. Or as I used to say, the Christmas tree lights, and when you put them all in a rush and you open that box and you're like, who did this? Yeah, that's a 10 when you're feeling like that. All you see is the weeds in the garden over the flowers.
Yep.
So that is a 10, and then a 5 is nothing like that. And then a 0 is completely nothing like that. And a 0 is, I think we said 0 for the Zen. A 0
is for Zen. Feeling
beautiful,
peaceful, harmonious, calm.
You're sitting in the present poised and just bliss.
Yeah.
There's no past that you have to worry about, no future that you have to worry about. You're just sitting
right here, right now. Yeah.
As we breathe, that's a 0. So we're going to rate ourselves from 0 to 10, and there's a halfway check-in point. We're going to ask you again to rate yourself, and then at the very end, we're going to rate ourselves. So in saying that, Moira, what number are you right here, right now?
Right here, right now, I think I'm going to put myself at a 1. I'm just becoming aware of some tension in my lower back. And that can be something like, what we're going to discover here. Our body talks to us. My body talks to me. So
yeah, and trusting that body is incredibly important.
Yes.
So I was going to say 0.5, but since starting this, I've got a little bit of a coffee thing going on.
Mhm.
So I'm going to say a 1 as well.
There you go.
So I'm going to copy Moira. Not really. I had it first. So let us know your number where you start with, jot that down. And when I say jot it down with a pen and paper, grab your pen and paper now, or notes if you're going to type straight into the computer or phone or anything, because we're going to give you some hot tips on our topic today, which is ideas come to me easily.
Mm-hmm.
So number one, I'm going to kick this off with ideas come to me easily. Number one is always have something around that you can write down. When an idea comes to you, take note and write it down.
I love that. It's important.
And that's just ensuring everyone has their pen and paper now to do that.
Did you write it down? Did you write it down?
Did you? Because when you have an idea and then 4 hours later you go, oh, I thought of that idea. What was that idea? You've moved on. You've had 4 hours of minutes and seconds in there, and lots of things happen. So you may not
Other
remember.
random thoughts came in too.
No matter how amazing that idea is. And people say, oh, I had the idea in the kitchen, so you go back to the kitchen. Do you do that?
I've done that. Yep.
You go back
Absolutely.
to the kitchen, you go, where was I? I was standing here, and 99% of the time the idea comes back to you. I don't know why that is.
It does.
Yeah.
Look, you've kind of come back into the space where it landed, right? It's almost
where
like it's suspended and
it's hanging
there.
Yeah,
you just went and re-engaged with it.
So number one tip is jot it down. Wherever you jot it down, pen, computer, whatever. I often email myself.
Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that before too.
1,439 emails still unopened. Yeah. Don't let me to help you with your inbox. But definitely jot it down would be my number one priority for an idea.
Definitely. I have a tip to lead on from that, because sometimes, I don't know about you, but sometimes I might be driving or in a situation where I don't have access to my phone readily to email myself.
Oh, yes.
Or I don't have a pen and paper, but it's something that just landed really, really quick. And I'm like, oh, that's a fabulous idea. What I do is I take the tips of my 2 fingers on my dominant hand and I tap my third eye area, my forehead, in the middle of your eyebrows.
Oh, I always forget that.
Yeah. So what you're doing is to me, this is what's happening is when I'm doing that, I'm locking it into my third eye area, third eye chakra, which is where insight comes from. And I'm saying, I have this insight. And because I've been doing this for years and years, so is that then at the end of the day or at the beginning of the day, because sometimes I'll even do that in the middle of the night, I woke up and had some kind of dream or idea landed, and I don't want to get up and completely come out of sleep. So I'll just tap. But then you go back and tap again, and there it is. It's a wee bit like what you were just saying about go back to where you had the idea, and it's like it just downloads again. But the same with this tip, right? So you've tapped it in, but then when you tap again, it comes back. It's kind of magical.
With that, you've got to believe that works.
Yep, you do.
Just for the record, you've got to believe that work, because it does work. I know I've done it, but I keep forgetting that one actually. So, but it does work. And if your intention is this is a crock of shite, doing this, it's not going to land in your head, because all you're doing is you're going to tap. It's a crock of shite in your head. So,
although I have had people do it that didn't believe that it was going to work, and it did, and it completely unnerved them. It was like, oh my God, what kind of witchcrafty thing was that?
I love it. I love it.
So whether you believe it or not, just try it, just once, and then let me know.
Yeah, it definitely does work. Yeah, that's it. So I would say that the tip is to remember it. Remember it.
Yeah. Yes.
You don't have to action on it straight away, but you can remember it, because there's definitely, to actioning, you're going to have to unpack. Yeah. So ideas come to me easily. One of my other tips is your body and your intuition. And that will always guide you to the truth.
Yes.
Your intuition will not lie to you. Your mind will.
Yes, truly. Don't be listening to your thoughts and believing them.
Yeah.
Who said that anyway? That's what I say.
Yeah.
I tell my clients that if they have a thought landed, stop, say, who said that?
Yeah. Where does that come from?
Yep. Because oftentimes it's something that you picked up somewhere. And ain't got anything to do with you.
I know, and then you're like, So your intuition will always guide you to your truth.
Yeah.
And you can argue with your intuition,
Of course you
but
can.
you're going to get burnt.
It's that thing that we've talked about. We've talked about this on many previous episodes about the little tap that your intuition gives. Like, do that, and then you ignore it, and then it gets a little bit bigger.
It's the Nemo fish, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, and then it gets bigger until it goes bonk on your head because you kept saying no, I'm not going to listen.
Yeah, and I say the Nemo fish is that little tap, and then you go through the tuna, the shark, the dolphin, and then the very last one is the whale.
Yep.
And when you get the whale, one whack with that whale, and your house is immobilized.
You may not get up again.
You're squashed.
Yeah.
You're over
but
for a bit.
So here's another tip that I think is really, really important. Is I encourage everybody to just pause for a wee moment, put your hand on your heart, and if you can, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and say out loud to yourself, ideas come to me easily. I am a creator being. Ideas come to me easily. Because that's the truth of every one of us. We are creator beings. Ideas flow to us all the time with effortless ease, except for when we get stuck into our left brain thinking, oh my God, I have to be rational. I have to explain why this happened and why I think this and why that we just lost it. We just set up this big sort of juggernaut thing that derailed all these amazing ideas.
I love that. Ideas come to me easily, because the moment you actually think and you go, oh, I've got to think of an idea for this. Oh, it's an issue. Oh, how am I going to do this? Instantly, even just saying that, I've started getting a hunch in my back.
Yeah.
Actually going, oh, ideas are a problem. Oh my God, my ideas. I don't know if I can think of that. Everyone else is a genius and I'm not.
I know. There's that comparing to others thing again.
Yeah, my God. Yeah. But I am a creative being. And I know one of the things, when we talk about things we admire in other people, they go, oh, they're so creative. They can hear a piece of music and they can carry on with that music. Or they can write, and when they write the words, you can just feel that flow. And oh my God, they can put colors together. They can wear this color and this color, and blue and green should never be seen, but on them it looks amazing. And people are creative. We are all creative. We're all creative beings. We've all got our creative inside us.
Yep.
And when you're creative in your genius.
Exactly.
So
your genius.
Yeah. Acknowledge
Underline
your genius.
Yeah.
So stop comparing yourself to others of going, oh my God, they look this way, or they say that, or they can do that, and it's so easily for them. People have said to me, how do you do a podcast? Oh my God, it must be so hard to get up. Are you worried about what you say? And I'm like, the hardest part about doing the podcast is rating myself at the start of back.
The 0 to 10.
That's literally the hardest part of the podcast.
Yeah.
That's all the other stuff because it's not hard.
Yeah.
It's so easy. And it flows. If it's not, I have to go, oh, what's going on? And I would be questioning. But I think acknowledging that you are here to make a difference in this world. Whatever level you're going to do it in, you're here to make a difference. So acknowledge you for who you are and get your juices flowing on your creativity, not others.
Not others. So I love that. I love that you brought that up, because that's the truth. I believe every one of us has our own unique flavor of genius, like you just said. And so therefore, I think also that each one of us's life purpose is to discover that.
Yeah.
To discover that, to know thyself, to stand up and go, look, because another way of finding that is, what do you do that you find super, super easy? Like you said, people will come up to you. People do it to me too. How do you they'll ask me about the guided meditations I do. How do you get to that place of Zen to be able to guide people through? I'm like, I take a deep breath and then I go and do it. But that's my zone of genius, is this soothing, calming vibe, and using my voice to heal and to mentor and guide.
Yeah.
That's mine. And so I flow with it. But for somebody to come and look at me and think, oh, I have to do it like she does. Or if I went and looked at somebody else and said, oh, I have to do it like they do, then I am actually setting up a big roadblock for that flow of ideas to come through me. Right?
I remembered the other day I was talking, just when you were saying that, what do you find easy?
Mm-hmm.
I remembered I was talking to a woman, and she's a trader, and she said it's so easy to trade and make money, but in her coaching business, she struggles to make money. And she says, but in her trading business, it's so easy to trade and make money, but then she blows that money. And when she started telling me the story, and I'm going, oh, I know what's going on here. I know what's going on here. Instantly I could, for me, it was easy to pinpoint what her challenges or perceived challenges were.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you don't respect that money. Basically,
Right.
when you're spending that money, you don't respect it because you feel you haven't earned it.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I've earned it. I've sat in front of the computer for 20 minutes and I've just made 200K. And I'm like, okay, that's great. But 20 minutes work for 200K, is that realistic? And she's like, well, I don't think about it. It's, and it was an interesting conversation we had, because she didn't respect, because it was too easy for her. So she had a block saying, I'm not going to make money unless I work hard. I have to work hard for my money. I can't make more money than my parents. I can't make more money than my partner. And it really uncovered a whole lot of money blocks that stopped her from doing her sealing business and her coaching business.
Mm-hmm.
She loves coaching,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't, the coaching she's charging out is, a low dollar value compared to 20 minutes
for
trading and getting, enough to put a deposit on a house or,
right.
And so that's why she was blowing it so easily.
Isn't that interesting though? Because what that really speaks to me is the indoctrination that a lot of us in the Western world have bought into, is you got to work hard. You got to work hard. And so that's how you get the value of your worth, is that, did you put your time in? Did you struggle and stress and work hard?
She works hard for her money. She works hard for her money.
Dear.
I don't know what that song is. I think it's a Bon Jovi song or something, something like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. But it is. You have to work hard to earn money. If you're not working hard, you're not earning money. You're not doing it right.
Yeah, is that the truth?
No.
Where are these ideas coming easily to you?
Yeah. Definitely, I do not believe that's old school patterning.
Very much so.
Old school, your wrinkles on your face. Oh, I've been out in the sun. I've got wrinkles. You've got to have wrinkles to be an outside worker. No, you don't.
No, you don't.
But it's these, and I'm going to say the old philosophy stories, because they're so ingrained in most people that it's just acknowledging and recognizing that and then going, oh, okay. So it's about don't disrespect the easy part.
Right. So, it's really interesting that you're saying that, because that goes back to what I said earlier, is like the thoughts that land in you, like, oh, if you're an outside worker, you're going to get wrinkly skin.
Yeah.
Who said that? Right. I'd be saying, ask, who said that? Oh, well, everybody knows, or my parents said, or social media says, or whatever it is.
Social media says, yeah. But they're really common blocks. They're really common things that make us go, oh, I can't earn this money, or I have to spend this money because I made it too easily. Right. Or, and I do have that philosophy. When you earn your money and you feel it's valid, and you buy something, you do respect it more.
Yeah.
You know, instead of and I'm going to say parents giving you a car over you saving your money and doing that car and working for that car, you are going to respect it more.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've done something and you've earned it in that family to be given that car,
mm-hmm.
you haven't been given that car. You've been, you know, if you stop the label, if you've been given that car, you've earned that car from doing A, B, C, D. You know,
exactly.
You may have been
Exactly. But I think that goes along with what I was saying about when you align with your purpose or you align with your genius. It doesn't matter if you went and slugged, 40 hours a week for the last 2 years to get that car.
Yeah.
Or if you were aligned with your purpose and somebody just came up and said, here's the keys. If you were aligned.
Someone here's the key, you'll be looking behind going, where's the catch? Is someone putting me on social media? What's this whole thing for? Is it really real? Am I going to get in this car and turn it on? It's going to blow up, or what's going on?
Or you could just switch gears and say, ideas, AKA things like cars too, even come to me easily. I attract. So that's that whole thing of attracting abundance, attracting everything. It is your vibration, very much.
And I am a creative being is one that Moira wrote down, and I love that because ideas come to me easily. That I don't even think about that. It's a certainty in my mind. I just don't even think of those words.
You just had confirmation of that.
They do. Thank you very much. But it is, ideas come to me easily, so it's a given. I don't disrespect it. I just know with certainty that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And I'm that same way too. I think the reason I thought it was so important for us to have a podcast around this, though, is so many of my coaching clients don't. That they come up and they'll oh, this person has great ideas. Moira has great ideas. Deb has great ideas. I don't have any good ideas at all.
Yeah. So that's about being, what is your, you said flavor of genius. We're all creative in our own way.
That's right.
So stay in your lane.
Yes.
I talked about that just at the weekend, actually. Stay in your lane. If you find you're deviating out, pull yourself back. What are you a genius at? Stay at that. Shiny objects we do get distracted by.
Well, we do, but then celebrate it. Celebrate what yours is.
Absolutely. And be grateful for, that's it. Be grateful for that.
Yeah. But, the other thing too is to appreciate. Remember, we've talked before about what you appreciates. So if you
appreciates. And I love the way Moira said it with her little accent.
But even like if your ideas, you appreciate that you have an unending supply of great ideas, and you appreciate the ideas that you have, they start appreciating.
Yeah.
Going up, getting bigger, getting more dependable, getting more in flow. It's very important too.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
And I think, when ideas come to me easily, and I'm going to say a coach, I don't like the word saying I'm a coach, but as a mentor.
Yeah, well,
the same with Moira.
Mentor. I like mentors better.
Ideas do come to us easily.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because we have removed ourselves from your chaotic situation and we just look at the facts. We take all the emotion out in our mind. She said this, he did this, da, 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 and on the tables this, and this. So all the ingredients are there. We hear that. We don't look at the way it's displayed or anything. We're going, okay, there's the ingredients. What can we make from that? And so Moira and I are really great at pulling out of that genius, and that is one of our geniuses, and helping you with your ideas, because the ideas are already there in your mind. We're just plucking them out. Yep. And I think that's that thing, because we have removed ourselves from the emotion. And when you remove yourself from the ocean, I was going to say, from the emotion, you can look clearly and see things with certainty that you don't have all the Christmas tree lights tangled. We can just look at the box and go, oh, these are Christmas tree lights. We know what we're doing.
Exactly.
We don't look at how long it's going to take to untangle that or do that or do that.
Yep.
Because our agenda is just to do the best we can with you, but we've taken the emotion out.
That's right. And so that's oftentimes in my coaching, mentoring conversations, it'll be just I'll listen to, like you said, I'll listen to your whole story. You know, this is what happened, and that person did this, and this fell apart, and that didn't go right. And then I'll sit and listen to all of this, and then I'll just at the end go, how about this? And they'll just
yes.
It's like, oh my God, how did you do that? It's like, well, because I just held space and listened to everything you said. And like you said, I love that analogy that all I did was look in and go, oh, it's a big tangled bunch of Christmas lights, and look, here's the bulb. That's the one you needed. And it lights up.
And it is exactly that. So that is our zone of genius, clearly, and we're creative in that. But when ideas come to you easily, all you're seeing is you're seeing the tangled Christmas lights. You're not seeing the bulb. You're seeing the weeds over the flowers. You're seeing the complication over the ease.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're turning yourself inside out, and all you can see is the complication, and not go, oh, this is really simple. I just said, oh, it's not even attached to anything. Shit, that was way easier than what was. And often that happens when you actually do that, because that's when procrastination comes into play, when you're looking at the weeds over the flowers.
Yeah.
But when you look at that and you can go, oh, this is really simple, and you do it, or you find it a challenge, and then you do it, and then you're like, that wasn't anywhere near as bad as what I thought it was going to be. And you can hear that language go, wow, I really thought this was so bad. No wonder I put it off for so long, blah, 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 blah.
But, you know, that's such a testament to the story that you put around how hard it's going to be or how difficult, and think, you know, ideas don't come to me, so therefore I have to slog through it, and it's this big chaotic lump that I have to navigate. Whereas when you go and just say, okay, I'm going to let the flow come through me. And then,
that's,
you know,
trust, isn't it?
It is the trust, but it's also to get out of the storytelling in your mind. Right? It's like, no more story. I think I mentioned this to you before. I have this client that she'll catch herself now, even when she's telling me, oh, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. And then she'll just pause and go, oh, I'm telling a story again, aren't I? Yeah, it's awesome.
I love that. And one of the things we do, I have a year-long mentoring program, and each month we do a different block of something. So this month we're actually doing social influence. So we're looking at our social influence around us. And one of the things is stories. So in week 2 of our month, we always dissolve our stories, and it is dissolving our stories, because our stories are, I remember you giving me a description, and it was like, it might have been me giving a description, or you, I don't know, about the snowball coming down the mountain.
Yeah.
And then it collects all the shite.
Yep.
All the skiers, the snowboards, the dirt, everything. And when it gets to the very bottom, that's the whale, by the way.
Massive. Yeah, pretty much the same as a whale. Yep.
It's the same thing. And that can knock us off course. But when I was just thinking, who actually said that? I got distracted to the who actually said that. One of us. I forgot what I was going to say.
One of us, and we probably both co-created the story.
But story. But our stories really can immobilize us if we're not aware of them.
Yeah.
And the moment you can just go, oh, that's a story.
Yeah.
Sorry if you had a headset on then and I'm really loud. But that's a story. Oh wow, this is a story. This is something I can work on or not. And just acknowledging that, story. And I love that your client just rattle. Oh, it's a story, isn't it? And you're just like, yes, it is. Yes, it is. And where did that come from? What did you say? Who said that?
Who said that?
Who said that? Yeah. And is it truth or is it BS?
And that's the whole, so important, because sometimes maybe it is, you know, sometimes it's based on a truth that's no longer in existence.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like, you know, it's an old paradigm that actually suited really well in that set of circumstances, but here it is prattling in my ear still, telling me the story, narrating and navigating through that filter. It's time to say, I'm actually creating a veil or a screen, which is maybe blocking the my own recognition of ideas flowing through. Right?
Yeah, well, it's your stories have such a large impact in us, and it does either propel us forward or immobilize us. What I'm loving with when you start unraveling that story, what I'm loving in my mentoring group is they start unraveling and they go, oh, here's a story, and then they unravel, and then they're like, oh, Deborah, I've got 4 other stories now I've got to deal with. And I'm like, yep, that's what happens. It's unraveling that, that thread on your top. Oh, yeah, there's a thread there. I'll pull it off. And next thing your arms unravel and you're like, oh, my God, I've got to take it to. And that's exactly what it is.
Like,
because
whoops, don't have a sweater anymore.
Yeah, that's it. It's all on that bloody
the floor,
pile on the ground that the cat princess is very stoked to have. Yeah.
Yep, truly. Pile a little on the floor.
But those stories do unravel, and it isn't just one story. They come and they flow, and they come, and some come really fast and some don't.
Right,
but it definitely flows into you, and you're like, oh. So when you see that, and I'm going to use my favorite word, pivot. When you see that, stop, pivot. Let's just stop, and before we assess that story. And I love that you've got who said that, and is it truth or BS? And we know Deborah's version of BS is different to Moira's version.
That's right.
So, which I've actually reframed sometimes. I still do go back to my old word. So BS is what, Moira?
Belief systems.
What's
right. Your belief systems? It's challenging to break them apart.
Yeah, because is it the truth or is it a belief system? Like, look at it. And when we dig down to that, you get to the point, you just laugh and you go, wow, really? I've been holding on to that when you get to that neutral point, how we did a 0 to 10 at the start?
Yeah.
When you get to that 0 and you're just left with, oh, that's interesting. Done. Move on.
Precisely. It happens so fast when you're in that peaceful, calm, balanced place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's just a visit. It's like a little. You've said about this before about it was just a glitch, and let it go. Off it goes. Yeah. All is well.
Yeah. I was just writing another note for that very first note we've got here. So I know we talked. I'm going to say compare again because I believe we mentioned Moira mentioned the word compare, but and I talked about being creative with the flavor of genius. And I just really would like to emphasize the comparing, because comparing is unhealthy. And I'm not one to label things good or bad, but right now I'm labeling it as unhealthy.
I agree.
Because when you compare, you get yourself into a pickle. You get yourself into a pickle, your mind races, and that can filter into your mind all the weeds over the flowers.
Right. So it's got a destructive energy to it because it's actually not
energy. I love that word.
It's not allowing you to be in this flow. Like we're talking about, ideas come to me easily. But if I'm comparing myself to somebody else, I've allowed some kind of destructive energy to derail the flow or the receiving of those ideas coming in. Right?
Yeah. And definitely, and then when we think about the comparing, the next tip I'm going to say is pause.
Yes.
And that's not PAWS because we're both animal owners. I'm talking about PAUSE, pause. Because when you pause, you can choose what you're doing. You can choose, okay, this is not easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause and I'm going to go for a run. Or I'm going to pause and I'm going to have a cup of tea. Or I'm going to pause and I'm going to go for a beautiful walk on a Sunday like Moira does and splashes it all over social media. But you pause and do something that fulfills you. So it's not just pausing and sitting there in a funk. It's pause and do something that fulfills you, because you're basically glitter bombing yourself again. You're basically drinking from the nourishment of life, whatever you want to call it, and you're just pausing and regenerating yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's about pausing and coming present. So in the a pause to me is often just hand over your heart and take a few deep breaths to land into the essence of you and the essence of this moment. So pauses are super important. Something that I often encourage people to do is to pause and say, how am I feeling about myself here?
Yeah.
It's really simple.
Well, that 0 to 10 is a great check-in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that alone is a great check-in, just to pause and get present. Just hand on heart is just a beautiful thing.
But it's also it allows you to reconnect with your inner wisdom when we're doing those, right?
Yeah.
So talking about that, it's time for us to do our little recap and review all of these tips. I think we got some really juicy tips to share. So
what have we got here?
Do you want to kick us off? What was your first tip?
I've got jot it down, and then Moira also gave the tap three fingers.
It's actually two fingers. Tap.
Two fingers into the third eye.
Yeah. To remember. So when you have an idea or the thought that you can't write down, you just tap it. You're installing it into your memory. Yeah. So that you can then recall it later when you can write it down.
And that's another way of saying you're unpacking your brain, you're decluttering your brain.
Yeah.
If I looked at my notes on my phone, they are insane. Like someone said to me, what do we need to do around the house? And I opened up this note and it pretty much broke down room by room. And then and she was like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, there's no way I'm going to remember all that. And when you ask me something, there you go. Yeah. When you ask me something, I want to make sure that I know what I've got. So definitely jot it down, tap your third eye, and it helps you unpack your brain.
Yep, absolutely. So a tip that I have here is to follow your intuition, listen to your body. Yeah, that's a really great way to, if you know what your yeses and what your nos feel like, that actually can help you acknowledge and witness the ideas coming to you easily. But it's about coming into it, not so much into your chattering mind, just feel into those great ideas.
Right? Yes. And with that, that's, Moira just said, ideas come to me easily, with that intuition. And one of the tips she pointed out was hand on heart, and say aloud. Ideas come to me easily. And I love this one. I am a creator being. Yeah.
I am a creator being.
And you say, well, certainly, I'm a creator being.
That's right. And then the more all creator beings have ideas coming to them all of the time. So really important. Something that you had said, Deb, right around that point, was to acknowledge your genius. So each one of us as creator beings, we have our own flavor of creativity. And so by acknowledging our genius, acknowledging what lights us up, that's when we really get, it's almost like doing that little aligning to where the radio antenna is coming up so that we get the downloads or the receiving of those ideas.
Yeah. And well, with that is also don't compare. That's definitely in there.
That was a really big one.
Yeah. And so my next one I've got is, when you have that word easy, don't disrespect it. Yeah. And I talked about, a trader client who's disrespecting the money because it's coming in so easy. Yeah. So don't disrespect that it's easy. You said, ask people, what do they find easy about you? Like, oh, you're really good at this, I'll ask you. And I think that's the thing is remembering that, like, we do have our zone of genius or our flavor of genius. And with that, just don't disrespect what you do. Yeah.
Just because you find it easy, that's like, celebrate it. This is back to celebrating.
That's why you go to someone that's why you have people around. Like you're going to have a plumbing job. you're not going to Google the plumbing job, and well, I'm not. Just for the record, I'm not. But some people might Google the plumbing job and doing all that. Why would I do that when I can go to somebody and who can do it easily and quarter of the time, in fact, not even quarter of the time, like point whatever of the time it would take me to do it. So don't disrespect what you find easy and what others do.
Absolutely. And then when you're listening to something about the shoulds or truths, the thing is this, to check in and ask yourself, is it truth or is it BS? And it can be Deb's flavor of BS or Moira's flavor of BS.
We don't need to mention Deb's flavor. We know what it is.
We know what that one is. But Moira's is belief system. Have you got a belief system, an inherited ism that's directing or taking you away from this idea that ideas come to you easily?
Right? And Moira said 3 words with the story was, who said that?
Yes.
Who said that? Oh,
ask yourself.
That just unpacks it a little bit, like, oh, I don't know where it came from. Well, then it's not even valid.
Yeah.
Or, oh, it came from my mum. Well, it's still not valid.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Or it was my grade 1 school teacher. Still not valid.
Yeah. I know. I often say to coaches, I say, go back to your school report. Guaranteed it'll say things like talks too much, likes to in the room, doesn't concentrate on one thing at one time or something. It's like, great. So I was already a speaker from way back then. Right. Perfect. Thanks, teacher. Yeah.
Thanks. One of my tips that I shared was that whole thing of what we appreciate appreciates. So appreciate that you have an unhindered supply of great ideas. They're coming to you all the time. So surrender to it, appreciate them, and they start to appreciate, meaning get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, I love that. And Moira's what you appreciate appreciates. I love the way she says that too. And then my tip I've got written down is take the emotion out.
Yes, that was a good one.
And when you have Moira and Debz, that's what we do. We take the emotion out, and it's clearly you can see it. You can just see the light bulb over the tangled Christmas tree lights that you're going, where am I going to start? What am I going to do? Yep. So when you take the emotion out, you have a different level of vibration. And so that is, if you can do that yourself, that's fabulous. But if not, reach out to Moira or myself, because that is one of our definite skills that we can do. I can hear people standing in the supermarket moaning, and I'm like, oh, I just need to do that. And literally in my head, and then I'm like, oh, hold it in. They haven't asked for it. Don't go up, go away. Because we can take the emotion out.
Yes.
Because you can see clearly when there's no emotion, you can clearly see.
Yeah, that's what gives us the clarity. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. The last one that I wanted to share that was yours actually was to stop and pivot. Right. So because to me that was like, if you're feeling a dry spell or you're not having the ideas, maybe you're not quite in alignment with your zone of genius. And so therefore it's that pause, the whole pause, stop. And do you need to change direction slightly? Go off to a wee bit of a different angle or different trajectory. So I like that tip.
And I love that when I talked about pivoting, you mentioned we talked about pausing, and I said pause, pivot, pause, and you said be present.
Yes.
And that is where the true clarity, no procrastination, no story, no comparison, anything. When you're truly present in the moment, that's when your hand on the heart and you're feeling the breathing, and there's no emotion. That's your gift. That's your gift there. Right there. And that is ease.
Yeah, absolutely. I have one more tip before we do our little check-in on our scale of 0 to 10. I was just thinking, and this follows on from your first tip about writing things down. I think it's really important to journal, and to do that, have a practice every day. It's funny because for me, I don't always journal, but I've just recently picked it back up again. And it's really interesting because I've actually noticed a huge expansion in my own creative flow. And it's just because I'm just free writing. I'm just letting things bubble through. And it's such a nice way to just kind of, like I said, it's almost like doing that radio dial tuning? Am I
Yeah.
dialed in? So I think that's a really important piece to recognizing that I am the conduit for some excellent creative ideas. And this is what really helps get in touch with your own creative genius.
Perfect.
So,
I love it.
yeah,
I love what we've come up with. I
do too.
love it. And I trust everyone else loves it.
I trust everybody.
I love it.
Well, I'd love to hear from our listeners. How do you access your own creativity? How do you feel your ideas coming through? And which one of our tips, I'm saying one, but I think it should be like 2 or 3, which ones resonated with you both?
Put them all in order. Okay,
Yes.
everybody.
There's your challenge.
Priority, and then put that up there. Yeah.
And so, dear listeners, if you loved what we shared today, we'd love for you to share this episode with all your friends and anybody else that you think might benefit from these tips and inspiration. And we'd also love to hear from you. What number were you at the beginning? How did it change at the midway point? And where are you now? And what would you like to hear more of in the idea of ideas coming to you easily? We'd love to hear from you. All that being said, Deb and I were both at a 1 at the beginning. Where are you now?
I don't even think I've coughed or anything throughout. I don't even know. I've just been present. I'm going to say a 0 because I don't feel zened. When I say a 0, I don't feel zened, but I feel inspired. Like there's just
beautiful,
this little different love, that's what I feel. So I don't feel zened, completely neutral, but I feel inspired and just a beautiful feeling inside me as well.
I can totally relate. I do. I have like a big smile on the inside.
Yeah,
that's the 0. That's what I feel.
That's it. That's perfect. So we're both 0. Fancy that.
We're both 0. Internal smiles abound.
Yeah, that's the one.
Awesome conversation. I love this. Thank you so much, dear Deb.
Thank you. And thank you to the listeners for coming on and doing this and for sharing this knowledge that we've got here.
Absolutely. We will be back here again with you next week, dear listeners. Thanks, Debz.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.